To see the United Kingdom, and mashallah, it's really beautiful to see all your brothers, in Deen and still practicing religion. Mashallah, it's so beautiful. So I grew up in Australia. I was born in Australia. My father is from Bosnia and Herzegovina. I don't know. Raise your hands if you know about Bosnia and Herzegovina. Has anyone been to Bosnia? Just Seville travel. Muhammad Faraz. Bosnia is a really beautiful place. It's been Muslim for about 500 years through the Ottoman Empire. And my father was lucky enough to be a person born there. And my mother is a Riva. She's an Australian, 7th generation Australian. I think her ancestors come all the way to Ireland here, 7 generations before. And I grew up in a mashallah, a good Muslim family, where we, always had Muslim brothers and sisters coming from all walks of life, all types of backgrounds, and it's pretty similar to the UK, where you have a mixture of immigrants from all over the world, and it's a really beautiful thing where, you stand in a saf at salah or namaz time, and you have different cultures, different methods, and it's a really beautiful thing, unity, and so I grew up in Australia. I wanted to study acting. I went to university for that because I really believe that we lack, as Muslims, we lack storytelling in cinema and television about our rich history. And so that's one thing that I really wanted to get. It was my main objective of getting into television and cinema. Because there's absolutely, if you can count how many TV shows there are out there, explaining our history, you can only say about 2 or 3, I would imagine, because we don't really produce anything. Is that right? You following me? Yeah. So I got into cinema, and it was kind of like a mistake because I had no Muslim friends in there. It's really dangerous because I didn't have a mentor, like a Muslim mentor or any. It's a dangerous sector to get into. However, I ended up going to Hollywood. I did a couple of films in Hollywood, did a couple of TV shows, and then finally, when I was 28 years old, I was like, I need to get married because I really need to protect myself, because females in Hollywood are everywhere, and it's not turning out right for me. So I went to Bosnia, where my father is from, and I found a wife there. I got married, and I was going backwards and forwards between Hollywood and Bosnia, and I got married, and then I ended up staying in Bosnia, and I was trying to figure out how I could make halal cinema or halal content about Muslims. And it's very hard to do that by myself. So I ended up going to Turkey, and where I found that under Recep Tayyip Erdoğan, you guys know about Recep Tayyip Erdoğan? He's the president of Turkey. Yeah. So under him, the national television started to make pretty much Islamic content, which I was quite after that. And they were making like a Sherlock Holmes, an Ottoman Sherlock Holmes, so like a Muslim Sherlock Holmes going around and solving all these mysteries about all these Jahil people and stuff like that. So it was really good thing. And I acted on that show for about 7 episodes. And then I went and learned Turkish, by the way. I didn't know a word of Turkish when I arrived in Turkey. It took me a good year of studying, intensive classes on learning Turkish. And I didn't believe I could learn it, but alhamdulillah, I learned it in about a year and a half. And then I got an offer to go onto this TV show. It was about Ertuğrul Ghazi, and I had a meeting with the producer, and the producer came to me. So this is just to explain the sector there in Turkey. The producer asked me, he was like, on our first meeting, he asked me, he looked at me kind of weird, like untrustworthy sort of thing, and he was like, this is about Ertuğrul Gazi. And I was like, okay, great. And I started explaining him all the history, what I knew about Ertuğrul Gazi. And so I know a bit, because I love my history. So, and he was surprised. He was like, Allah Akbar. He couldn't believe it, you know. And then he asked me, am I okay with playing on such a, with acting in such a series? I was like, absolutely, of course I am. It's my kind of thing. Because the majority of the actors in Turkey, they have a problem with that, like going into that kind of content. They don't want to be known for that kind of stuff. So that's the actual situation in Turkey. But alhamdulillah, I got the privilege to act on that show. I was originally supposed to be a baddie that was going to just kill everyone, and it was really hard for me because I would walk into a shop in Turkey and they'd be playing the show or something, and like people that knew the show in Turkey. It's really the practicing Muslims that watch this show in Turkey. So when I walk into a shop, they look at me and they'll be like, I'd be like on the show, I'd be like trying to kill Ibn Arabiya, and these guys, the shopkeepers would be looking at me and they'd be like wanting to kill me. They wouldn't want to serve me, they didn't want to talk to me. It was like, and I had to convince them, and it's like, something a TV show. So that happened a lot. And later on, you know, because of my good fighting skills, a lot of people liked me on the show. They were writing to the producers that, you know, you should really make this guy a Muslim. And I didn't think it was going to happen, but they did that. And the way they did that was quite inspirational. And you know, I think it's good that it just shows a good lesson in that story. And it's very similar, like Ibn Arabi explained the lesson like Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu. So it was really good. I ended up dying in the show after I became Muslim. I ended up becoming a shaheed, and I went off to Jannah, inshallah. So it was an amazing opportunity to play on that show. After that show, I started doing a few other films in Turkey, and then I ended up moving to Bosnia. I have my own TV show at the moment on in Turkey with the same channel. It's a documentary travel cultural show that we are trying to show about underprivileged families that are living all around the world, from Nepal, Pakistan, all third world countries, where they're doing like really crazy jobs. And what we do, I go and live with the family, I eat with the family, I work with the family, I sleep with the family, I sleep on the same kind of bed, or if they don't have a bed, I sleep on the concrete with them. And it just shows real life. And why we do that show is because the Turkish government, or the Turkish television network, really want the Turkish people to appreciate what they have. So that's the main thing. They want, and in that they want me to live with the family because they want a tighter family structure in Turkey. Because if you have a strong family, you have a strong neighborhood, you have a strong society. So that's, I'm not going to bore you guys too much. You probably have houses to get to. So, I'm going to Sheikh if he wants to ask any questions.
What was the sort of changing factor in your life, the catalyst that brought you closer to your origin, where you went from sort of Hollywood to, say, Hollywood, or your Deen? Hollywood to Hollywood.
I grew up as a practicing Muslim. I used to go as a kid. We weren't part of the Tabligh Jamaat, but we would attend 3-day kharuj in like one place in Melbourne or Sydney or something like that. We would be, I learned so much from that. I also went to a madrasa when I was in high school for 1 year. I used to go to Muslim camps. I would say I was a proud Muslim and an educated young Muslim in Australia. Being half Australian, my identity would be like, for you guys, I guess it'd be the equivalent of half Pakistani, half English, you know what I mean? So you're confused in your identity, confused with my identity, and One thing that triggered that was I didn't know who I was. I had a Muslim name, Reshad. I was going to a Muslim school where I was going to a non-Muslim school. I mean, where there was like I was the only Muslim in my year. You know, you feel the pressure. So you look for your identity. I looked for my identity, and I found that in Islam. And the best thing was to focus on that. So I got into acting for that reason. You know, I saw the film, the message. I must have seen it a billion times as a kid. Every day after school, I'd be watching that film, and I knew every single line out of that film. I still know every single line out of that film. And I mean, that was like probably, you know, for kids that don't read that many books, you know, television and cinema is the easiest way to just converse with them, to teach them. And that's what it did with me. I learned a lot of things about that. So what was the question was, what was the main thing, the catalyst that triggered me back into Islam? I went to Hollywood. I didn't have one Muslim friend around me for 5 years there. It's a hard thing. You know, it's a hard thing trying to become successful so I can start doing Islamic content. It's almost impossible, you know what I mean? Because I don't have a Muslim friend around me. You are who your friends are. So I decided I needed to get out of here. And it's the thing about Hollywood, it's dunya. It's the sweetest taste of dunya. Everyone loves the dunya. And I ended up going to Bosnia for Ramadan. And there was one sheikh there, remember after Fajr, he was giving a small dose after Fajr, 5-minute dose. And he was explaining how us Muslims, we really love the dunya so much. And I was thinking about all my friends in Hollywood, ones that own helicopters, sons of the biggest trust fund babies in the world, you know. And he said that the sheikh said, we love the dunya so much, like a street dog that hasn't eaten for 3 days. He said, you give a bone to that dog, the dog's gonna be just chewing the bone, holding onto the bone. He said, we love the dunya just like that dog loves the bone. Try to take the bone from the dog. Try to take the dunya off the people. And I started thinking about everything, the watches I'm wearing, the clothes, the cars, everything. I was just thinking, the lifestyle, man. I was like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get married. I gotta clean myself up. I can't hang out with the people that I was hanging out with. So, you know, I just called a spade, and I was like, that's it, I'm done. I made niyat, you know, I really need to get married as soon as possible. It didn't matter, hijab didn't matter, I just need a wife. Ideally hijab, because hijab is like protection, you know. When you have a hijab, a wife with a hijab, you cannot mix Hollywood and protection. So alhamdulillah, I got married, and I guess that was the answer to your question.
You mentioned about your father who grew up in former communist Yugoslavia, and if you know the history of Yugoslavia, many Muslims were martyred there for not being allowed to freely practice their religion, and anyone who practiced their religion would be locked away and tortured as well. So first, British Muslims, and you've touched on this as well, how much is it a blessing that we're able to freely practice our religion?
Brothers, you have it like on a golden platter. You guys are so free compared to what they had. It's quite scary that was only like 50 years ago, where, you know, if you spoke out, you would never be seen again, you know. And if you can look at now at West China, it's a similar thing, exactly the same thing as what happened former Yugoslavia. You know, I have my father's uncle. My father's uncle, he went missing, you know. never seen again. That's one of the things that made my father and my grandmother want to migrate to Australia, to get out of it, get away from it. So they got out, they migrated to Australia. Bosnia, however, is after these fireworks going off.
It's officially welcome to the Masjid. A bit later.
Okay, so Bosnia is a phenomenal place, mashallah. It's such a rich history. It's a beautiful place. It's full of beautiful mountains, forests. There's rivers all over Bosnia. And we have a lot of alims there. Alhamdulillah, after the last war, the Bosnians woke up and started practicing, were free to practice again. And that's been such a blessing. If you guys get the chance to go to Bosnia, please come visit, please. It's such a beautiful place. You guys living in England will be like so amazed that there's brothers and sisters out there who are hafiz, alims, and have blonde hair, blue eyes, and it's like, you guys will really learn from that. Brother Muhammad Faraz does tours there, please, if he has a tour coming up, please come visit me as well. I'm living there, my kids go to a Turkish school there, Turkish Muslim school there, and yeah.
Just moving on briefly, you've mentioned in the past about your mother, that she was a rock of your family, and how she sort of brought you back into the religion, and she made you very punctual in Islam. And this is mainly for our sisters listening at home as well. How much of an inspiration is your mother in your life?
The sisters listening right now.
They're listening at home.
Yeah, mashallah. Okay, so my mother is everything to me. My mother and father, everything, absolutely everything. They work so hard for myself and my brothers. But my mother in particular, she is like one of a billion, because she came from a very, very affluent family. Her father was a barrister, became a judge in Australia. He was a very well-known man, he was a very fair man, and she has 7 brothers and sisters, and she met my father, who was like a migrant, right? As a migrant, my father's an immigrant to Australia, not seen as someone that's kind of respectable. Although my father was very well dressed, he was like a sir, he was well dressed, but my father was a painter, a house painter. He'd go around paint houses and then dress up nice and go out. She met my father, and my father didn't know much about Islam because of his background of communism. He was very limited. He knew he was a Muslim. He was ready to fight anyone because of that. He was ready. He knew Al-Fatiha. He knew Shahada. That's basically it. He didn't know anything else. And that's the limited amount of knowledge that these people were allowed. So my mother, after they got married, my mother wanted to take my brothers to like some sort of religion, to Catholicism, to a Catholic church, to Sunday school. And my father was like, no way. It was like not happening. He made up all kinds of excuses. He was lying. He was just saying no. And basically what happened was my mother said, okay, then she started to research other religions. And all the answers, she went to a boarding school, a Catholic boarding school, all the answers that she had that were unanswered, all the questions she had unanswered, she found in the Quran. She was reading the Quran, it became such a light thing for her, just a nur, and just so beautiful for her. And she started taking the kids to madrasa in Canberra, in the capital, Australia's capital. And eventually she wanted to become Muslim, and my father didn't know how to take it because he's never seen anyone become Muslim before. So it was like I don't know what to do. And my mother took Shahada, and she started going to madrasa as well, and she started practicing. And my mother would come home and teach my father what she learned, and she would push him to go to the masjid. She was always pushing him. She was telling him, this is your religion, you need to do this, And it was he needed that push. And then he was like, that's it. Once he started, he was in love with it. He stopped all the bad things he was doing, and he just started going fudger, started more and more. And, they had a beautiful life, mashallah. My mother and father, they had a really mixed community in Australia, so it's really good. You got these people from Malaysia. That's our neighbour there, Indonesia, Malaysia. You have all these Indians, Pakistanis, everything. You have whatever you want. Turks, all the Arabs. So it's Africans. It's such a beautiful mix. North Africans in Australia. So it's quite good, growing up with, getting to know all these different cultures in Australia because the people in your Gemma. So.
Okay, finally, from this side, me and my wife, we love our coffee, and we're over on Ertuğrul, Eritrean organic coffee. And there's a lot of history behind coffee as well. The Muslims invented coffee as well, and in the Haramain, it was forbidden for so many years. It was declared haram because it was declared that it was an intoxicant. Then afterwards, it sort of became halal. Do you still have your coffee shop?
So I have a cafe, a couple of cafes, and I have a coffee roasters in Bosnia, and I import coffee, and I give classes on coffee, and I train baristas, and that's just like a passionate thing for me. I don't make money on that, but it's just I just love it, and I love coffee. I love trying different coffees. I love the history of coffee, because the history of coffee actually, if you look at the Muslim countries, all the Muslim countries will testify that coffee originated from Yemen, all right? One of the Harazi mountains or something like that. They say it comes from Yemen. And there are trees in Yemen that have been there for thousands of years. They say that's a 1,000-year-old tree, coffee tree. And the best kind of coffee, there's 4 types of coffee. There's one I don't know the name of, it's no one drinks it. There's Liberica that originates from Liberia. There's Robusta that originates from, it's not Uganda, but it's maybe something like that. And it's a weed, Robusta, because it's robust, it's a weed. It has double the caffeine, it's probably what most of cafes, the cheaper cafes serve. And there's Arabica, which originates from Arabia. And if you Google where does Arabica come from, you're going to have about 30 pages on Google saying that it comes from Ethiopia. But it doesn't really come from Ethiopia because the people in Yemen were cultivating it 200 years before it was even discovered in Ethiopia. So that's a bit of propaganda there from the West that they're just trying to take away from the Muslims. And I think that's quite interesting. I think it's really interesting. And the best coffee in the world, the best Arabica in the world, is Yemeni. The most expensive Arabica in the world is Yemeni. So we should be cleaning that.
I think to a certain extent they've hijacked the name as well. Americano. Is it? Americano is one of those. I think to a certain extent they hijacked the name as well.
Yeah. America's hijacked Americano.
Okay, brothers, you are free to ask questions. Brother Reshad.
How did you find out about it?
How does someone? How do I find out about it?
Yeah, and how did you apply for it? How did they find out about you?
How did they find out about me?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a pretty small industry in Turkey. If you know people, you know people. And they knew me, and they invited me in to have a meeting with them. To originally audition. I did an audition for the lead role of Ertuğrul. That was my first audition for them. And then it's a long story. But that's how they found out about me. And what was the second question?
How was it like acting there compared to Hollywood?
Hollywood's much more professional. Hollywood, they have a system that they really know what they're doing.
Ertuğrul looks...
Acting in Turkey, you need a lot of sabr. It's changing.
Sheikh, I have a question.
Sorry.
young boys and girls who are doing media study at college, and they are thinking of going to university. And obviously, in the third university, they have to choose the option: either do journalism, or go to the film industry, or the documentary. I mean, what is lacking for Muslims, and what would you advise these young people?
Sheikh, I think it's all lacking. Like the entire, I mean, we need journalists to write about our Muslim films, to write about our Muslim actors, right? We need it all. We need the whole package. We don't have that. Unfortunately, we just don't have that. It can't be like a one-man show. I have no idea how Mustafa Akkad did it all by himself. You know, the message, the line, the message. I don't know how he did all that by himself. He got distribution all over the world. And unfortunately, I mean, that's where the ball dropped after that film, after those films. So there wasn't anything that really was good enough to write home about after that, in terms of Islamic content.
But you're also saying that, okay, for a young person, they want to university now.
Okay.
And they've chosen an option. Like either journalism, going to maybe documentary and so forth. But because sometimes in the UK, they might not find people who can support them, like people, let's say, you found. So what would you say, to go to a Muslim country and try and liaise with people?
Okay, I would say if you have to go to a Muslim country, go to a Muslim country, but you also have enough information here. I mean, looking at the results of Ertuğrul, the TV show, I mean, there's proof that there's a market for it. So I think we just need to create more content, and I think that's what's really lacking, is creating the content, creating the what I was saying, like think tanks, you know, throwing the ideas up. I think like real lessons, like training, we lack that. I think we also, above all, we lack mentorship. Mentorship is one of the most important things, because without a guide, you're not going to get there, you know. Now, no offense to imams or anything, I don't really believe an imam is going to be able to guide an actor, like tell them what to do. Maybe they can, but maybe if they're really in touch with what's going on, and then I think that's of great benefit, because you can't do it alone. I mean, I couldn't do it alone. I needed a mentor. And majority of my mentors were non-Muslims. It's like, to get through university, you know, they tell you at university you need a mentor. You know, so like a guide.
So you could be an open market to Muslims from UK, young boys and girls, as a mentor.
Inshallah, I think I'll be coming back to the UK soon. Inshallah, I actually plan to come back and do something here. I really...
For us as parents and so forth, we do have within the community people, like we do know young boys and girls who are doing media studies, but what they lack, as you have said, mentoring, people like Muslim like yourself who guide them. So that's what we're looking for.
You know, I'd like to answer that. I think you should actually encourage your youth to get into films, cinema, acting. I think you need to encourage them. I know it's dangerous, but you need to encourage them, as long as it's Islamic. You know, you got to keep it Islamic. Keep their values, keep their morals.
Anybody else? Yes. Starha?
So I started acting in grade 3, and then, but professionally acting, the first day I finished university, I started. So that's what, 2003.
Yeah, again.
What football team do you support?
I was thinking it's football in a
Football team. I like Liverpool.
Totally.
Mohamed Salah. He's an amazing. I think he's an amazing example. Right? He's an amazing role model. Well, growing up as a Muslim, you always look at your role models, right? If you're a young Muslim, you always, you guys all know this, you always look at that cricket player, that good cricket player that's doing good things, that's giving charity and stuff like that. You always go, wow, that's amazing, man. That's what, it drives you, yeah? It inspires you. I mean, as a young kid, I was looking at Zinedine Zidane, you know? Zinedine Zidane was like, he was like, yeah, he's Muslim. Yeah, Muhammad Ali, yeah, he's Muslim, you know? Inshallah soon we'll have a great British Muslim film industry that's going to be like doing all kinds of stuff here. I'd like to see that one day, inshallah.
I think the Sheikh who walked out was probably a Manchester United fan. Subhanallah, you've got some connection with Sonny Bill Williams as well. Another role model for.
He's an amazing role model. What a man, Nice one.
I think he's playing in England very soon. He signs for Toronto in the Rugby League.
Okay.
So that's a Super League, so he might be coming to the UK. Okay, I think we'll finish off. Firstly, just to finish off, say Jazakallah Khair to your brother Reshad Strik as well. And also on behalf of the management and the brothers as well, Jazakallah Khair from Makki Masjid. And also Jazakallah Khair brother Faraz and Speed Travels as well for making this event possible.
He actually flew me here from Bosnia, so thank you, brother Mohammed, for that.
That's fine. Jazakallah.